come on at 7, but of course it's right now 8 o'clock, 8 something. But I said I was going to do this stream at around 7 o'clock. So let's get into it. I'm very, very late. I'm sorry about that, guys. I'm What You Need. And we're talking about boxing. We're talking about the fire of boxing. So boxing's starting to fire up, man. It's really starting to fire. Like, it's taking the momentum from 2023 and it's going into 2024 and with fire. So that's really good. Let's talk about a little bit about the fights that are upcoming. And I'll take a little break to bring in some food. I may have some eats and drinks while I'm doing this, but forgive me for that because I've been busy all day. I'm cooking a meal right now. And so I'm going to wait for some of you guys to get in and we're going to talk. We're going to chop it up. 140-pound division is on fire. 135-pound division, not as much fire. We got some latest things to talk about. Different people throwing their hats into the rings. So it's going to get very interesting. Latest bit of information is Pitbull Cruz speaking on the fact that the Ryan Garcia fight with him is being held up only by a given manager, some guy named Lupe, whatever, who doesn't want to make that part of the fight happen. But we're going to talk some more. Taking a little break to handle some food. I'll be right back. Sure. It's gonna be false. Good. False. False, baby. All right, What You Need back in the building. Let's talk about boxing. So first of all, Arthur Beterbiev is going to be taking on Callum Smith this weekend. I will not be able to see it because I may be able to see. We'll see. That's a big fight, and that's gonna be a very interesting fight for several different reasons. Some people think that Artur Beterbiev, he's getting old. He's been in some tough fights. You know, Anthony Yarde was a pretty tough fight for him, and if I'm not mistaken, he had another fight before that was pretty tough as well. Joe Smith Jr. fight wasn't so hard, but he been in some scraps now. So some people are feeling, you know, Eddie Hearn's very confident in Callum Smith. Callum Smith will knock him out. I don't know about that. You know, but that's a great attitude to have. We'll see how Callum performs at that weight class. And that'll let us know really what we're dealing with. It's very nice to see Eddie Hearn having confidence in this fight. I want to say that. Now, if you like this channel, you like the content on this channel, don't forget that you can donate via PayPal. The link is in the description. I really believe that in the entire 175-pound division, there's only one fighter, I believe, that has what it takes to beat Artur Beterbiev. By the way, shout out to Lonnie B. Lonnie B has a promoter in Teofimo Lopez and Takeover Promotions. First fighter. Congratulations to Lonnie B on that. Just want to put that out there. I don't think that David Benavidez, Callum Smith, those kinds of guys, those kinds of fighters, beat Artur Beterbiev. He's too strong. You know? And he's got a lot of championship experience, and he has a lot of amateur experience. So he's not this easy guy to beat. But I believe a fighter like Dmitry Bivol beats him. I've been wrong before, but I do believe I'm right this time. People think Bivol's style is very simple. They think it's some sort of amateur style. No. There's a lot more going on with Bivol's style. And the way to know is to watch his footwork. His footwork. That's how he controls range. His feet. His feet are very good. He understands at all times where he is in the ring. And that understanding is what is helping him to win fights comfortably, or make it look comfortably. When you talk about pound for pound fighters, I think Bivol's one of them, but time will truly show. Bivol's really, well, he was a 168 pounder. Who went up to 175 and has created havoc. Other than Canelo, though, and Jean Pascal, he hasn't faced a lot of big names. So Beterbiev making a name for himself will be a great opponent that Bivol can again outbox. Probably hurt pretty bad. Who else beat me? Gilberto Ramirez. Canelo Alvarez. Shout out to Chris Oriel. Beterbiev. He's strong. I give him that. He's strong. Technically, he's good as well. I think Bivol beats him. Salute to you too, my brother. I think Bivol beats him. I think that's the only guy at 175 that beats him. You know? I don't see Callum Smith beating him. I don't see... He's skilled. Oh, no doubt about it. Bivol's skilled and Beterbiev skilled. Very much so. But I think Bivol's better. I think what Bivol does, he does exceptionally well. And I don't think there's anybody out there. I don't think there's anybody out there that can beat Dmitry Bivol. You know, again, look what he did to Gilberto Ramirez. Look what he did to Gilberto. I mean, Gilberto Ramirez is no joke. He also has a good boxing mind. And Bivol just made him look like he just didn't belong in the ring with him. Right? Bivol has beaten Jean Pascal. He has beaten, what's his name? The Cuban kid. I forgot what his name is. Stopped him, actually. He has beaten, like he was his daddy. He has beaten, I mean, he soundly beat beat up. Probably could have stopped the most recent opponent, right? Those guys just don't belong in the ring with him. They just don't. And he can fight. He can fight. You know? Beterbiev has 100% knockout ratio, right? He's a bad boy. He's strong. But we all know Usyk beat out of Beterbiev in the amateurs. You know? He was able to outbox him. Exactly. Bivol has that footwork that is kryptonite to Beterbiev. Beterbiev likes to hop in. And Bivol's going to catch him in between. He's going to catch him nasty and turn. You know? I think guys like Canelo and Bivol, I mean, they beat Beterbiev. I think Bivol will do it cleaner. I don't think David Benavidez beats Beterbiev. I don't think that I don't think any 175 pounder beats Beterbiev. Alright? Other than Bivol. And I heard they signed the fight so that Beterbiev has to get past Callum Smith. If Callum Smith beats Beterbiev, kind of spoils everything. But if Beterbiev gets past Callum Smith, and the thing about it is that Wilder and Joshua were going to fight. I think they signed a deal to fight each other. And then Wilder went and lost. You know? So, if we can get 2 undisputed fights this year, Fury versus Usyk, and Bivol versus Beterbiev, that in and of itself is a crazy fight. When Beterbiev was fighting Smith, he was boxing like Ali. Oh, yeah, Joe Smith Jr. Right. I forgot that's another Smith. Well, because Joe Smith Jr. doesn't know how to gauge distance, was popping his jab, but it was the same kind of jab. So Beterbiev was, boxing him. And slipping to the outside and countering him. Joe jabbed by moving in, so he stepped with the jab. And he became very predictable. Kind of remind me of the good fights. My memory's failing lately. Well, upcoming good fights for this year are the following. We're going to have Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk. We're going to have Bivol versus Beterbiev, possibly for undisputed if Beterbiev gets past Joe Smith Jr. Callum Smith Jr. Callum Smith. We are going to have either Devin Haney versus Mario Barrios, which is a very good fight. Mario Barrios is a very good fighter. Devin Haney will be moving up in weight a second time, and he might just be fighting for the WBC. The WBC, the WBC title, because Mario Barrios is currently the WBC regular. Is it WBC or WBA? I'm not sure. One of them. One of the WB. It's not WBO. I think Mario Barrios is the WBA. Is it WBC? It's WBC. Okay. This is how I'll do it. Jerome Ennis is the IBF champion currently. Okay? Terence Crawford no longer has that title. I don't know who the WBA champion is currently. It may be Mario Barrios. If Devin Haney, now, Terence Crawford's going to vacate, and he's going to go up to 154. If Devin Haney fights Mario Barrios, when Mario Barrios is elevated to the champion of the WBA, I think it's the WBA, it could be the WBC, I'm not sure. One of them. And Devin Haney beats Mario Barrios, he will then be a 3-divisional bona fide world champion. So that's something on the table they've been talking about. And Mario Barrios just beat Odenis Ugas. Odenis Ugas beat Manny Pacquiao. Chris Oriel says, I want to see Haney versus Sandor Martin. That's Haney's mandatory. Sandor Martin is Haney's mandatory. So that's the other possibility. I'm seeing Sandor as your countryman. Of course you'd want to see that. Great shot for Sandor. I know Sandor is not your typical boxer. He's more like Devin Haney. He has a style something like Devin Haney. So that would be good to watch. So those are the two options. Now, we know at 140-pound division, we've heard Subriel Mateus call out just about everybody on the kitchen sink, right? He said he's the best 140. He said Teofimo Lopez ducked him or some stuff like that. And Devin Haney, he's a runner. He's a chicken. He's the best 140 out there. Now you can say that. Nothing wrong with that. But until you show me that you're the best 140, Devin Haney showed us he is the best 140 because he beat Regis Prograis when Teofimo was retired. Teofimo showed us he was the best 140, beating Josh Taylor, who was a lineal champion and former undisputed champion, though he never lost his undisputed titles in the ring. In fact, he was undefeated as a fighter, technically speaking, until he fought Teofimo Lopez. But you can argue that who should be undisputed right now is Jack Catterall. Jack Catterall's another one of those fighters you got to watch out for. All right? But we know Teofimo is going to be facing, what's his name? Jermaine Ortiz, right? I'm not knocking that fight. That's a good fight. But what would I prefer to see? I would prefer to see Teofimo Lopez versus Devin Haney. I'm sure a lot of you would love to see that instead. But Jermaine Ortiz is a good fighter. Some would argue that he beat Vasily Lomachenko. And I can't knock you if you said that, if you say that. But Sandor Martin was a Muay Thai fighter. Really? You learn something new every day. I know that if I have to talk about fighters in the 140 division. Let me show you how red hot this division is. You have Jack Catterall, Sandor Martin, Richardson Hitchens, Gary Antoine Russell, Lee Parrow from Australia, the other Australian that beat Love. You got that's how much is that? 7. Here comes 8. The old Venezuelan fighter, Ishmael Barroso. Number 9. 140-pound division is lit. You got Ryan Garcia. Jose Pedraza is in that division. Jose Ramirez is in that division. That's 10 already. We haven't even talked about the top 5. In fact, we haven't even mentioned the world champions yet. But also got Justice, no doubt about it. You got in that division, then you got Raleigh Romero, Teofimo Lopez, Subriel Mateus, Devin Haney, right? That's 14 top names right there off the top of the line. Let's not forget, 15 and 16 is Regis Prograis or Rougarou. And 16 is Jose Zepeda. Let's not forget them. And then maybe Adrian Broner comes to the division. That's 17. It's probably the most loaded division out of all the divisions. Josh Taylor's gone. Otherwise, he'd be in there. But it's a pretty stacked division. That's what I'm saying. So, all those guys, well, Richardson Hitchens kind of separates himself. Richardson Hitchens, even though he hasn't got the competition quite yet, the competition he did get, I mean, he just totally dominated them. All right? So I'm interested in seeing how Richardson Hitchens does in that division. People talking about Devin Haney versus Richardson Hitchens. But while that's a good fight, I don't think Richardson Hitchens is ready to just jump up to that level just like that. I think, as he said, he needs at least 1 or 2 more fights. Then he'll be ready. You know? But that's a good fight. Hitchens versus Devin Haney is a good fight. You know? Jermaine Ortiz versus Teofimo Lopez, a solid fight. Those are good fights. Do I think that Naoya Inoue should be fighter of the year or pound for pound fighter? I don't think he's either. Just my personal opinion. And I'll explain to you why. Pound for pound, no, Inouye's up there. He's been up there for a while. But I can't give him pound for pound number 1 over Terrence Crawford. I just can't. People say Terrence Crawford fought an injured fighter. No. Errol Spence made no excuses. The better man won. Errol was a pound for pound fighter when Crawford faced him. It's kind of like saying, who was the fighter of the decade? Manny Pacquiao or Floyd Mayweather? Well, let's look at the decade then. 2010, Floyd fights Shane Mosley. 2011, he fights Victor Ortiz. 2012, he fights Miguel Cotto. 2013, he fights Canelo Alvarez. 2014, he fights Marcus Maidana. In 2015, he fights Manny Pacquiao. And Andre Berto. But all the people I mentioned, why I mentioned them, I didn't include Andre Berto or Robert Guerrero because they weren't world champions. Everybody else I just spoke about was a world champion. He fought 6 world champions between 2010 to 2015. And these are not just world champions. Shane Mosley is a Hall of Famer. Miguel Cotto is a Hall of Famer. Canelo Alvarez is going into the Boxing Hall of Fame. Manny Pacquiao is going into the boxing. He fought 4 Hall of Famers during that time. Manny Pacquiao can't make that claim. See what I'm saying? So that's why we have Floyd Mayweather as the boxer of the decade. Now, with respect to Terrence Crawford and Noah Inoue, even though Terrence Crawford fought 1 fight for the year, it was the most highly anticipated fight of all fights. And he won in an emphatic fashion, stopping Errol Spence, who was a pound-for-pound fighter. I can't give Noah Inoue Fighter of the Year over that. He could have fought, and he did. He fought, I think, 3 times that year or 2 times. I can't remember. He beat Stephen Fulton, right? He also beat this new guy. I forgot what his name is, the Filipino kid. Exceptional performances, but you can't take a Stephen Fulton. You can't take the Filipino kid and in terms of accomplishments, put them on the same pedestal as an Errol Spence. Errol Spence is like 2 of those guys. It's like 2 Stephen Fultons and like 2. You know, if Noah Inoue fought 4 fights for the year and beat 4 of those caliber opponents, sure, we could say, oh, yeah, fighter of the year. But I can't give, I'm sorry, I just can't give Noah Inoue. I know he became undisputed twice, but I can't give him fighter of the year for that. No. And he did exceptionally well, don't get me wrong. But the caliber of opposition, I would pick Devin Haney over him. Why? Devin Haney fought a future Hall of Famer. Future Hall of Famer in Vasily Lomachenko and beat him. Then went on to face the number 1, at least at the time, ranked 140 pounder. Devin Haney's done more. Oh, excuse me. He's done more than Noah Inoue. Why? Because Noah Inoue, he ain't fought nobody on that caliber. The only fight he fought, and that was not this year, was Nonito Donaire, and he had to fight him twice. He fought him twice. So the first time wasn't as convincing, right? And he went life and death with Nonito Donaire. So, I mean, Nonito has a hell of a resume and is going to go down in the Boxing Hall of Fame. But with respect to, he didn't have a fighter like that this year. He didn't face a fighter like that this year. Right? But Devin Haney faced a fighter like that this year. He faced Vasily Lomachenko, who is incredibly accomplished, going to go down in the Boxing Hall of Fame, and a way better boxer than Nonito Donaire. Way better boxer. Okay? Lomachenko, as old as he is, will beat almost all of the lightweights in the lightweight division right now. So I'm not talking pound for pound right now. I'm talking fighter of the year. I'm talking fighter of the year. I want to make that abundantly clear to you, Chris Oriol. I'm not talking about pound for pound right now. Chris Oriol says Crawford and Canelo to me, although there are too many good fighters to mention all. Let me say this. Canelo is definitely in the equation for fighter of the year because Canelo fought, I believe Canelo fought twice this year, right? He fought twice this year. Canelo fought, who did he fight? He fought, wait, how many times this year did Canelo fight? I think twice. Is it twice this year? Let's see. Canelo, last year, sorry. Let's see. Canelo fought, who did he fight last? He fought, his last fight was against Jermell Charlo. And then earlier on in the year, and Jermell Charlo is probably going to go into the Boxing Hall of Fame, right? But he beat Jermell Charlo. And who else did he beat that year? I think he beat, who did he beat? Was it Triple G? Was it Triple G or was it the Southpaw kid, the tough Southpaw kid? I can't remember. To me, Donnie Nietis is one of the best, and nobody mentions him. Yeah, Donnie's a great. He was a light flymate. I think he's now what, Superfly or Fly? I'm not sure which one it is. And Donnie Nietis is a good fighter, no doubt about it. I don't know if he's going to the Boxing Hall of Fame, but he might because he was a long reigning champion for quite a while. But when it comes to fighting to the top of the top, Canelo did face Jermell Charlo, who's probably going to go down the gorilla. Yes, sir. And when you look at the top of the division, I think that Canelo fought Demetrius Andrade and he fought Jermell Charlo. No. David Benavidez fought Demetrius Andrade. My bad. So he fought, and you know who else is a fighter of the year? David Benavidez. David Benavidez, he beat Caleb Plant and he beat Demetrius Andrade, right? And he stopped Demetrius Andrade. And Demetrius Andrade is one of the most avoided fighters in all of boxing. So for him to do that says a lot. And he stopped Demetrius Andrade. You know, he beat Caleb Plant, but he stopped Demetrius Andrade. Ain't nobody stops Demetrius Andrade just like that, you know? So he's definitely in the running. Canelo, I don't know. He beat Jermell Charlo comprehensively. And I think he faced, what is the kid's name? I forgot his name. Chris Oriel says, who you got, Benavidez versus Canelo? Canelo. I got Canelo. I don't think David Benavidez can beat Canelo. Because Canelo's been at 168 for a long time. Benavidez is a heavyweight. Yeah, he kind of shrinks down to 160. But even so, we've seen Canelo handle big bullies. We've seen him handle Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. We've seen him handle Callum Smith and tame him. We've seen him handle Caleb Plant and stop him. So, you know, if you're an aggressive fighter, well, Caleb Plant don't really have a whole lot going there. But Callum Smith was supposed to be a puncher. And Caleb Plant, you know, can punch a little bit. But David Benavidez, you know, I think that Canelo, his style is all made for Canelo, in my opinion. And I think Canelo loves to counterpunch. He likes to steal distance. You know, he's going to protect his body. He's going to protect his head. He's going to use all those veteran tricks on David Benavidez and have him confused while he beats the crap out of David Benavidez, has him backing up, has him trying to protect himself and defend himself. He's going to be beating him up. I think Canelo does what he does normally with David Benavidez. He's going to tame him because David Benavidez gets hit and he's not going to be able to take a whole bunch of Canelo shots because Canelo can throw combinations. He can rain the hell down on you as well. And we saw him go toe-to-toe with Triple G. So, you know, If he could take Triple G's punches, he's definitely going to take David Benavidez' punches. And not only can he take them, but he knows how to defend against them, everything else. So I don't really see David Benavidez doing anything to Canelo. I think that Canelo, is going to beat up David Benavidez bad. He's going to beat him up. That's what he's going to do. And I think he's going to start targeting the body early, as you said, to take all that steam out of David Benavidez' shots. And he's just going to break him down from there. But David Benavidez is an exciting fighter, don't get me wrong, but it's just that he ain't been in with real ones, He been in with Demetrius Andrade. Andrade still acclimatizing to the weight. He ain't been in with a guy that's a real one since Ronald Gavril. He ain't been in there with a real one. And, like Artur Beterbiev. You go in there with Artur Beterbiev don't play nice. He don't play nice. He rough you up. He do some roughhouse tactics and all kinds of things. So, Artur Beterbiev's a rough guy. Strong. He might be old, but he's strong and he's in shape. So guys like that, David Benavidez, they thinking David Benavidez will beat guys like that. I don't know about that, y'all. I don't know about that. We got to see what happens with Callum Smith versus Artur Beterbiev. If Beterbiev got Callum Smith on the back foot, it's over. Game over. Callum Smith got to impose his size and strength on Beterbiev. He don't do that, he's finished. Okay? So, with respect to Canelo, I think Canelo fought, he fought that kid, I forgot what his name is, the Southpaw kid. He fought him, and then he fought Jermell Charlo. I don't think that's Fighter of the Year performances. He was dominant, but he didn't stop those guys. He didn't stop John Ryder, and he didn't stop Jermell Charlo. David Benavidez, on the other hand, had two very exciting fights. Caleb Plant dominated down the stretch, and then he had a great performance against Demetrius Andrade. Canelo has made his style minimalistic. He just does necessary work. Yep, he's very efficient, like Floyd. Very efficient fighter. With respect to going back to Fighter of the Year, I think Inouye fits somewhere behind. I think that Devin Haney's ahead of him. I think that Terrence Crawford should have gotten Fighter of the Year. Bo Mack should have got Trainer of the Year. I also think Terrence Crawford should be pound for pound number one. He made a point, so he should be the pound for pound number one fighter as well. But I do think the runner-up would be either, for Fighter of the Year, that is, David Benavidez or Devin Haney. And I think Devin Haney would get the nod over David Benavidez because Caleb Plant is a contemporary of David Benavidez with about the same amount of experience as David Benavidez. Demetrius Andrade is a little bit older. He's more of a veteran, but he was moving up in weight. And he had never fought a world champion, former, present, or future, before facing Caleb Plant. Though he had an incredible, resume and credible amateur career. So David Benavidez stopped those guys, but if you're gonna put David Benavidez ahead of, and again, Demetrius Andrade has a history, right? He's 2 divisional world champion and all of that. So, you got to put it in context. However, I gotta say that what Devin Haney did was way more impressive than what David Benavidez did. And it's not a knock on David Benavidez. He got what he could get, was available. He couldn't get Canelo. But what Devin Haney did was he fought a legend. He fought a guy going into the Boxing Hall of Fame in Lomachenko and beat him. And yes, Lomachenko was beaten before, but he came back and beat almost everybody else. You could argue Jermaine Ortiz won that fight. But Lomachenko finished strong. He did. So, with respect to Devin Haney beating Lomachenko, I don't care what people say. I know he beat him. Because all I ask people is, okay, you say Lomachenko won, well, give me the rounds he won. That's all you got to do. But if in a parallel world, who would win? Crawford or Haney without discrediting nobody? Devin Haney versus Terrence Crawford. I still got Crawford over Haney. I got Crawford over Haney. Yeah. At this point in time. Crawford's a veteran. I mean, he got so many fights under him, and Devin Haney's still growing and getting better. And Devin's got that, sort of Sugar Ray Leonard Mayweather thing going on. Got good defense and everything. But that fight against Crawford's very aggressive, and then Crawford can change up the angles. My thing, though, with it is, if Crawford was to go up against Devin Haney right now, I think Crawford would have more experience. Remember, Crawford been teaching Devin Haney. He been teaching Devin Haney. Been showing him some stuff. So Devin Haney been picking Crawford brains too, and Bomac and all of them. Devin Haney been picking all the brains of all the best trainers in the business. He always willing to learn. So because of that, that's why he's growing as a fighter all the time. But I do think Crawford would beat Devin Haney at this point in time. But who knows? We might see Haney versus Crawford maybe at 154, maybe at 160. You never know. So we'll see if it's the right time or what. But Devin Haney been sizing up Crawford. If you haven't recognized, he's been sizing him up. But having said that, I think that's why I think Crawford's fighter of the year, and I think Crawford's pound for pound number one. If I thought that Devin Haney, had surpassed what Crawford did, or could beat Crawford, I would have Devin Haney as pound for pound number one. But I don't have him as that. I have him as pound for pound number two. Pound for pound number three, who would that be? I wish it was Bivol, because Bivol is my favorite fighter, one of my favorite fighters, but it's not him, because he didn't really face anybody of note this year. It's not Artur Beterbiev, but it could be Alexander Usyk. Let me give you a breakdown on Alexander Usyk. Usyk beat Anthony Joshua twice, right? Then he goes on to stop Daniel Dubois. This is the guy that stopped Jarrell Miller, right? And this is the heavyweight division, right? So Usyk beats Joshua, and then he comes around and he beats Daniel Dubois, right? And Daniel Dubois gave him a good fight. Don't get it twisted. But my point is, you got to put Usyk somewhere, because Usyk has proven time and time again that he is pound for pound fighter, and he's been in fights which are exciting, and he has been coming out on top. So you have to, Daniel Dubois is a good fighter, and you got Anthony Joshua, he beat this year. So no, you have to give Usyk his props. The guy who we're not going to talk about fighter of the year and all that. It's Tyson Fury. I don't even know why Francis Ngannou is facing Anthony Joshua. I don't know. That fight makes no pro fighting sense. But apparently it makes money. So they're doing it. But me personally, I don't think that Ngannou is ready for an Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua will mop the floor with Ngannou. I don't care how strong he is. He gonna get knocked out. Anthony Joshua's not playing around right now. Chris Ariel says, Dubois, he KO'd Usyk. No, he didn't KO. I know what you're talking about. You're talking about that shot that was ruled a low blow, but it was a legitimate blow. But the referee ruled it as a low blow. I got you. But at the end of the day, he lost. He ran out of steam. He was doing good, though. He ran out of steam, and Usyk took over. Which is what it is. But Daniel Dubois is a good fighter. He's a good fighter. If you don't know that by now, you should know it by now. He's a good fighter. And I wasn't really high on him, but now I'm beginning to enjoy seeing him, especially after the Jarrell Miller fight where he slept Jarrell Miller, and that's unheard of. So yeah, Usyk is another guy you got to look at. You know what I mean? Other than Usyk, we're talking Inui, we're talking it was legal, whatever his heart, etc. I know it was a legal punch, but the referee didn't see it that way, which is sad. Um, Having said that, though, Usyk's one hell of a fighter. You know what I mean? Um, I think that Devin Haney. I think that Devin Haney, has a great future, and he's a lot of options now. At 140, at 147, so he has a lot of options, and it's going to be interesting seeing him operate. I think that he's probably going to go to welterweight and fight Mario Barrios. I think we can get a third belt in 3-weight divisions, and makes you stronger if you want to go back down to 140. You got more strength, and you could test out your power even more. So it's just very interesting what Devin Haney has. He's a beast, but now they know that body is glass. I'm not sure who you're talking about right now. Is it Daniel Dubois you're talking about? Probably Daniel Dubois. Usyk. You're saying his body's glass? I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. He's tough. He's a tough guy. He's been in war, all kinds of stuff. So I don't know. Usyk's like a guy that don't make excuses. So I love to see, Usyk. Yeah, I saw him fight Beterbiev in the finals, the heavyweight fighter. He got dropped, and then he came back to win the fight and get the decision over Beterbiev. So, Usyk's a dog, though. He's a dog. Yeah. Is there anybody else that he felt those body shots? Absolutely. Absolutely. He definitely felt those body shots. And the referee gave him time to recoup and everything. But I'm gonna say this about boxing. If you could have hurt a guy before, because Dubois hurt Usyk, right? Well, if you hurt him before, come through again and hurt him. Get that in. You should have jumped on him immediately and tried to hurt him again. But he didn't do that. And it cost him. It cost him in the long run because he ran out of gas. Daniel Dubois. But at this time, he was well conditioned for his fight against Jarrell Miller, and he was able to make it to the finish line easily. And because of his conditioning, he was able to beat up Jarrell Miller and eventually stop him, So that's kudos to him on that. I understand what you're saying. Yeah. I'm just saying, Yeah. So we have also coming up maybe Deontay Wilder versus Zhao Shang, or maybe Deontay Wilder versus somebody else. You know what I mean? And Zhao Shang maybe taking on somebody like Joseph Parker or somebody else. So who knows? But what we know is etched in stone is Fury versus Usyk is happening next month. And that'll be an exciting time. So I'm looking forward to that. Ryan Garcia, we don't know who he's going to face. They're saying Rolly Romero. Oscar saying Devin Haney. Things are being flung around, but we'll see. We know that Jermaine Ortiz versus Teofimo Lopez is happening next month. So that's kind of what's on the cards right now. We know Clarissa Shields and Alicia Baumgardner are going back and forth with each other. So that's good for women's boxing. Shout out to Parker. His performance was outstanding. Yes, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. He did his homework on Deontay Wilder. So, there's a lot of good things out there. Rock 508 said, don't sleep on Ortiz. I feel like he beat Loma. Yes, I know. Some people argue that he beat Loma. I do get that. He did stack up a lot of the early rounds. So, even though he kind of faded and he came back in the last round, I think. You know, you could argue that he won that fight, but for the sake of politics, they let Loma win so he could go on to face Devin Haney, and he still lost to Devin Haney. So you know what it is. I mean, Jermaine Ortiz versus anybody is going to be a good fight. Because Jermaine Ortiz has a dynamic style. He doesn't always come in with the same style and all of that. So, you know, he's a good fighter. With respect to the 135-pound division, which is not as packed and stacked as the 140-pound division at present, I would say that Gervonta Tank Davis or Abdul Wahid needs to, you know, step up his competition even more, you know, because he's allowing all these stars to move up and leave him there with almost nobody to face. But then maybe that's what he wants. He wants probably to just face people, you know, that are not, you know, top echelon, the top of the top sort of fighters. He's not necessarily interested in facing the best, but in making a lot of money. And if that's his thing, well, that's his thing. But anyway, I am what you need. I am sleepy. That's why I rock back on the chair here. And I'm going to talk to you guys later. Chris Oriole, thanks for coming through and talking. I think it's the management or what? It could be. It could possibly be that. But I really need to go now. So I'm going to call it a day. I gave you guys a whole hour. I was supposed to take like 10 to 15 minutes. But I ended up giving you guys a whole hour. It was nice talking with you guys. Don't forget you can donate via PayPal. And buenas noches too, brother. I'm going to catch you guys later. What you need. Shalom.